What up traders, what up investors, Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for joining in for another video. We're going to be looking at the unemployment benefits and how it really will affect the stock market and what the stock market is representing currently in the market. Looking at some of the facts and looking at some of the data and then jumping into the charts to see on what could be potential results of the movement that we're seeing here with the stall or the pushback of the stimulus bill for a lot of unemployment benefits and so forth. So let's buckle up and let's get ready for a deep dive into what it really understands on the unemployment benefits that just may pay $5 a week, which is a kind of a pretty crazy headline. Yeah, $5 a week. Yeah, I did. That's what they said. But most likely, again, that's just on some key states, and that's some states have a minimum of what they can pay. That doesn't mean that $5 is what the additional means. It's just kind of the workaround. So basically, as everyone knows, the negotiations between the Republicans and Democrats in the House and overall in DC has been a completely circus show on just trying to help the American people. Of course, we have a huge election coming up, and so everyone doesn't want to be really kind of just giving up the bag, as they say. Not really jumping into politics and things like that. We're just going to be jumping into the facts. So this article does a very fantastic job, which I'll link down below, on breaking down what is the range of unemployment benefits on each state. You can kind of see here that Massachusetts has a huge range from the low to the max that can give. So Massachusetts is the only one that actually can give $1,200 of additional unemployment benefits. And this is basically showing without any additional of the $600 that we had way back in the summer when the start of the pandemic. That was $600 provided from the CARES Act that expired at the end of July. So now you're seeing a very large range of what people could receive in additional of helping from the unemployment benefits. Yes, that whole $5 a week comes out, but they don't go break into how many states actually give $5 a week. They actually say on average, states pay out about $305 a week before tax for unemployment insurance for workers in August. So that's basically that number there. So it's not the $5. I don't know. It's more. I think it's a little bit more clickbait than that. And then of course you see the equivalents of what the overall wages for hourly rates are within those states. You see Massachusetts is fairly high of the $32 for that. I always find Massachusetts quite weird with those statistics there. But you can kind of see here all the way to the lower states, Louisiana, Mississippi being on the lower tier of actually having less than the minimum wage. I'm not quite sure how that works. That the federal minimum wage is $7.25, but they're well below that, which I don't know how that's legal, but I'm again not getting into politics. But so basically, what are we looking for? We're really seeing on here if the market is looking for this bill to go through. As we can see with the stimulus bill potentially being waiting from Trump tweets, we can see it's on, it's off. It's kind of like very sporadic and not very little chaotic coming out of both sides of what's really going to be happening. Like, can we just be a little bit more concise here? Between him and Nancy Pelosi and Mnuchin and all these other folks, just trying to get their run the circuit show a little bit better and look maybe give the benefit for folks who actually need it. There's also talks about $25 billion for airline furlough employees as well, which we'll do in another video here. So this being said, please comment down below of what you think what could happen with the stimulus bill. The stimulus bill, of course, this is going to be one that talks about a lot. They're talking about kicking it all the way until later November after the election. I honestly think some is needed. Just seeing it here in my parts in Virginia on some people who need that additional cash due to lack of employment. That being said, let's go ahead and just jump on over here to the charts here. We're going to be just looking straight up at SPY. So SPY is the Standard & Poor's ETF index. You can kind of see here we've kind of been somewhat in chop mode. In chop mode, kangaroo mode is basically kind of that bouncing around. A key level to kind of potentially see the uptrend continue. We are seeing the trend kind of continue here on SPY as of a couple days ago, because we're seeing the 5 and 8 starting to cross through the 21 EMA to kind of continue that momentum to try to break above that $343 level here, which is actually at 618. We've had multiple failures around the range where we're currently at, so this is kind of the hesitation of the market of like, I don't think if any one of the polls can see that potentially Biden's in the lead, but we learned that from the last election of like, hey, anything can happen. Just get ready for anything to happen, really. And that's especially with the market too. Like, it's going to be very difficult to predict on where the market's going to be going. In any case, but even with an election year, it can be really a quick turnaround. So this being said, right now we're seeing a pretty key level here in SPY. It looks like we're trying to get above that. To see any kind of positive momentum and seeing the trend trying to continue higher, we need to get more consolidation above that $343 level. If we can get that, again, we're going to have a great chance of getting to 350 as well. That being said, if we start getting some hesitation and not getting the ticks and getting the chart to close above those key levels, we can potentially see some stalling out. That's going to be seen within the momentum here, the RSI and the volume zone oscillator on showing some potential movement to the downside. This as well going to here on the weekly side. It looks kind of like a V-shaped recovery here on the weekly side, but again, we could be considering a dead cat bounce. I think people in the past would just have bought the dip, but now it's a little bit more hesitation on a huge question mark on the sense of like the next presidential candidate and what could happen, because there's of course a lot of murmurs about if Biden wins, what could happen with regulations and growth, and then if Trump wins, what can happen with regulations and growth in the overall market. I'm not saying you should pick the candidate just because of the stock market, but this is definitely something very strange to be trading in this point in time if you're somewhat newer into the markets, seeing this crazy volatility and really this very large recovery we've had, and now this chop that we're looking into on potentially failing or continue going higher. So it's going to be really tied into how those stimulus checks help the American people, on how we are covering certain healthcare costs or how we're covering certain small businesses. Because again, a lot of people don't know small businesses are the lifeblood and they're not really well represented within the stock market. So be very mindful of that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you learned anything, hit that like and subscribe down below, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.